I mean, this is what I say to my friends. I'm like, I really believe there's like a mass fucking skinny psychosis going on. Nobody can see themselves. Everyone thinks there's a good to bad spectrum of bodies and what they look like. Anyone can take a GLP-1, including fucking Serena Williams, who in no universe needs to be on a GLP-1. And if Serena Williams can be on a GLP-1 in all these fucking Roe ads, what the hell are other people supposed to think?
Dude, where are you? Pick up your phone. I'm going to a summer party tonight, and you're obviously invited, so call me back. Okay, love you. Bye.
What's up, you guys, and welcome back to Emotionally Online, the weekly summer party for heart-to-hearts and hot gossip, hosted by yours truly, the one and only Maddie Drosbeck, who hasn't been on mic since the Oscars happened. So I have a lot of talking to do, okay? We've got to talk about the Oscars. We've got to talk about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. We've got to talk about The Bachelorette. Like, we have so much to talk about. It's unreal. I'm so sorry there was no episode last week. I myself didn't know that I wasn't going to post an episode last week until it got to the day of, and I was like, there's no possible way that I have enough time to film and edit an episode and get it live this week. We've been pushing out content like a machine over here, okay? Maddie Drosbeck Enterprises, that is owned and operated by me, Maddie Drosbeck, where every piece of content you see is made by me. Okay, so you know what? Last week we put out 2 YouTube videos, 29 Things I Learned by 29 and a celebration of soft necks. And we did an Oscars watch vlog on the Patreon, and we did the Tom Sandoval Trivia Night Extravaganza. So cut me some slack. I was grinding last week and the time just got away from me and there was no episode. But I'm so excited to be here now because we have so much to discuss. It's nauseating. Fucking nauseating. And funny enough, I actually don't feel like I have that much to say about the Oscars themselves. They were absurdly predictable this year. The nominations were predictable. The awards show itself was predictable. I guessed 17 out of 24 categories correctly. And of the ones I got wrong, they were all categories that were really close or that I saw and understood the winner. I was like, oh yeah, that would be my second choice. If it wasn't this person, it was going to be this person. It was going to be this movie. There was nothing truly shocking. There was no major upsets. I feel like it was all pretty predictable, which made for kind of a boring awards season. It made me miss Emilia Perez. Can I say that? This award season made me long for the days of Emilia Perez because at the end of it all, I'm a bitch who loves drama. I'm a bitch who loves drama. And when we all get to passionately rally around something that we collectively hate. Really, I like bullying sometimes. I like bullying when there are no real victims, unless that victim is Jax Taylor, in which case I'm 100% pro bullying. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we just get to have a little silly goofy time. And when Emilia Perez was in the Oscars race, like every day was funny. We were laughing and giggling and having the best time ever that year, weren't we? We were having so much fun. I mean, we were furious. We were furious, but we were alive, weren't we? F1 was the closest we got to Emilia Perez this year. F1, by the way, was doo-doo butt cheeks. I only watched it the day before the Oscars, so I didn't even really get time to be a hater during award season of F1. And even still, it was only nominated in like 3 categories, best editing being one of them, which that to me is actually the larger crime than best picture because the editing in F1 was some of the shittiest editing I've seen in a long time. Oh my God. Sometimes you watch a movie and you can really just feel the TikTokification of cinema happening, just oozing off of its skin. That's how I felt watching F1. There's a couple scenes in that movie where it's not even an exaggeration to say there is a cut every 0.2 seconds. I felt dizzy. My friend and I are sitting on my couch and Jordan looks at me. She's like, holy fuck, my head hurts. And I'm like, dude, mine does too. Like, it is crazy the amount of back and forths they had. It was edited for TikTok users who don't have the attention span to actually watch movies anymore. I hated it. I absolutely fucking hated it. So maybe I should have watched F1 earlier in the awards season so I could have been a hater throughout the whole thing. But I don't know. At the end of the day, it wasn't like a big enough contender in the big categories for me to be as much of a hater as I was for Amelia Perez, who like broke the nominations record that year. That was crazy. That was crazy and totally undeserved. But sometimes we need something to be collectively mad about. It unites the people. It makes the awards season that much more interesting. I had a better time last year during the Oscars than I did this year. Can we say that? Can we lay that all out on the line? I think we're all in agreement there. But if you're interested in hearing all of my Oscars thoughts, a little vlog that I recorded while my friends and I were watching the Oscars, that is edited and over and up on the Patreon. Would love to see you over there if you're interested. What I am more fascinated in discussing and dissecting in connection to the Oscars is actually the discourse that's been going around regarding influencers working the red carpet. To give you a brief recap, in case you don't know what's going on, which I love, by the way. I love when I go to tell my friends something and they're like, I have no idea what that is. Like, it's a surge of joy getting to expose someone to a topic that they haven't heard before. They're like, what's the discourse? What's the drama? What's going on? What's the gossip? And I'm like, oh, I've got the gossip. Like, don't you worry, babe. I've been doing Reddit deep dives all weekend. Don't worry about me, okay? I've been in there. I've been getting the information, harvesting it, all right? And now I've collected something truly beautiful, a feast to indulge you all in, okay? Here's me with the spoon. I'm airplaning it straight to the mouths of the people. That's me and you right now. Basically, you had a bunch of influencers on the red carpets doing interviews. This has been a thing that's been happening. Drew Afwalo does it, Brittany Broski. This year they had Quinlan Blackwell and Jake Shane. And the discourse really came about as a reaction to Jake Shane's reporting on the carpet specifically. He had a very awkward encounter with Kris Jenner, where Kris Jenner basically straight up said, like, how'd you get this gig? And then there was a really viral clip where he's talking to Julia Fox about If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, one of the movies that was being honored that night. Rose Byrne was the lead role. She was nominated for Best Actress. And basically all that Jake Shane was like, wasn't the kid in the movie so annoying? Julia Fox is like, actually, no. I think that, the movie is actually like a really thoughtful and interesting commentary on motherhood and yada, yada, giving a more thoughtful response than Jake Shane's question allowed her to give. And just in general, kind of awkward behavior with the guests and questions and commentary not really hitting the mark. And listen, I saw the videos. I agree that it wasn't great reporting. Here's what I'll say. Don't lump me into it, bitch. That's how I feel every time I see people start saying shit about influencers as a blanket statement. I'm like, all right, I can't speak for everybody, but I can't speak for me. Do not lump me into it, bitch. What the hell did I do? I don't love when an individual critique becomes an industry-wide critique for no reason. And I feel like if you want to critique an individual person's reporting on a red carpet, the questions that they're asking, the type of journalism that they're engaging with, by all means. What I don't fuck with is people being like, fuck all influencers, get them off the carpet. Because I do think there are influencers and people that have come up on the internet on these red carpets doing great work. I think Drew Afwalo does a great job. I think Amelia de Moldenberg does a great job. Mary Beth Barone, who's more of a comedian, but again, she has had her come up thanks to the internet. I think she counts here as well. These are people that have really been excelling in the department of red carpet reporting. I don't necessarily think it's an influencer problem so much as it is like a casting problem. Jake Shane himself has said on his in an interview he did recently, I want to say, where he was talking about his podcast Therapist, which I love Jake Shane, by the way. I think he's very funny. But Jake Shane was doing an interview on somebody else's podcast talking about how he does not consider himself a journalist. And what he is doing on his podcast isn't journalism, and that's like an insult to actual journalists. He's not trying to deliver hard-hitting questions or like really get into the nitty-gritty of something. He's trying to have these light, loose, fluffier, silly conversations with guests, which is fine. If that's the shit you want to make, by all means, make it. And then audiences get to have the discernment to decide if that's the kind of content they're interested in versus if it isn't. However, that kind of influencer, that kind of content doesn't always translate to like these brief 30-second carpet interviews. Sometimes in the creator world, it feels like the people selected for these kinds of opportunities are people with the biggest platforms and not necessarily the people that are the perfect fit for the job. I think that's the critique. It's not like a get influencers off the carpet. It's get the wrong influencers off the carpet. And listen, if Jake Shane wants to come back next year and do an even better job, then well, I support your dreams at the end of the day, whatever they are. But I feel like sometimes the critique on influencers as a whole in situations like this is really more of a critique on how people with large platforms get rewarded based on a number, based on follower count, based on subscriber count, and not based off of the substance and quality of the work they are doing. That is what I think the problem is. It's not that the person is coming up on the internet and that's where they got their start. It's that not everything that performs well on the internet, numbers don't always equate to like skill set or quality. The influencers and content creators with the largest amount of following is not necessarily the most talented, skilled, tactful people that you'd want on a red carpet. That doesn't really make sense. Who do I want to see hosting Oscars red carpets? Movie lovers. People who have watched the material and can ask thoughtful, interesting, funny questions to the people they're engaging with. Again, I think Drew, Amelia, and Mary Beth do an incredible job of this. If you want references of what I'm talking about, I think they do it perfectly. I also just think that a lot of times internet content and what does well online and why it does well online doesn't always translate to other mediums. I get that like these red carpet interviews are still going on social media, but ultimately it is more of like a classic form of reporting and journalism over like this clicky, buzzy, clickbaity social media content style that we see. Like, for example, I see this a lot with like podcasts that go on tour. And you take a podcast that is super successful online and then you get all these people to buy tickets to go to your show as you're touring. And the show itself, it just like doesn't work. I've been to a lot of podcast live shows where I left being like, why did I even go? Because it just doesn't translate. It works online in a way that it just doesn't work in real life. Those are two different mediums. Doing something on social media where you're listening to a podcast, most of the time when people are listening to podcasts, maybe you're driving, you're cleaning, you're doing something else. Most people are probably not listening to this podcast, sitting straight up on their couch with me on their TV and doing nothing else. You're probably doing something at the same time. Maybe you're playing games on your phone while you're listening to me. Maybe you're cleaning, maybe you're driving, whatever it is. Podcasting is like a multitasking medium. You can't just take your podcast on the road and expect it to be entertaining. If you want to make a live show, I think you have to then transform what makes your podcast work online into something that works as a live show as well. I don't know if people just don't have like the creative brains to mold their shows to make it more interesting, or if people just don't care to do that. And it's like, oh, people are coming. We sold tickets. People want to see it. But then ultimately, I feel like everyone leaves disappointed. I'm just saying, if I ever, which God willing, this would be incredible. If I ever have the ability to take this show on the road, I can pinky fucking promise you that the show that I will put on will not be what this is. Because this works on the internet. This, I don't feel, would work on a stage. I think it requires something else. I think a stage performance just requires more glitz and glam, and I don't know, maybe it's the theater kid in me that would just want it to be something totally different. And I would love the opportunity to someday put on a show in real life and invite people, but it would not, I mean, technically it would be a live podcast, but it also wouldn't be. It would be something totally different. It would be in a league of its own, okay? A variety show. The Emotionally Online variety show on tour, okay? Maybe that'll happen someday. I'm all on board for that. But my point there is just to say that when you're switching mediums, it often doesn't make sense to do it the exact same way. And if you have someone who is like a natural, charismatic, creative talent who can mold to a bunch of different mediums and settings and subjects, then bam, you've got something super special. Not everyone needs to be that though. I think it's okay to just pick what you want to be good at and be good at that thing. I'll talk more about myself, for example, because I've thought about this a lot. But there's a reason why I don't do interviews. There's a reason why whenever I have a guest on this podcast, they're one of my friends and I sit down and we just have a normal conversation. It's the same way an episode would normally go, except my friend is also here and they're going to go through the submission box with me or talk about whatever's been going on culturally that has been on the top of my mind. There's a reason why I don't do interviews, and it's because I find them boring most of the time and I'm not interested in leading them. I'm not interested in hosting that. I am interested in creating something that is more emotionally vulnerable on my part. I think sometimes hosting turns into like, I don't know, you don't really get to know me as the host because I'm there to expose and, you know, dig into someone else's juice. And listen, I love that. I think there's a talent and scale in that. That's not necessarily what I want to do. I'm more interested in having these like person to person, heart to heart moments with someone. And I think you learn a lot about my friends that come on this show through our conversations and hearing our various opinions and stories and hot takes and whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's not an interview. This is a sleepover style podcast. We're here, we're doing our thing, we're getting into it, but there's never going to be an interview that's happening on this show because I don't like doing that. Would I have someone on as a guest who wasn't a friend of mine? For sure. I'm totally open to having guests on this show that are not within my social circle. However, the format of the show wouldn't change if that happened. When I think about interviewing, there's a lot of stuff that I think I would have no interest in and I probably wouldn't be any good at it. What I do think I would be good at is movie reporting and interviews specifically, just because I'm such a fan. I think sometimes the problem is you don't have fans doing the shit. You don't have people that actually know the material, love the material, or interested in having these more substantive conversations about it because they're fans versus someone who is just honored to be there because it's a prestigious event. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to say no to being offered a spot reporting at the Oscars. Who the fuck would say no to that? But I think that the impact and like really the passion, you can't generate that if it's not there. And I do think in like conversations about art specifically, as someone whose entire like content ethos is about emotionality and vulnerability and leading very feelings first, I think that kind of approach could lend well to having really impactful, powerful conversations about art and the people who make it. And listen, that's just me speaking for me. I think I would be good at it because I love it. Or is anyone calling me up? No one's calling me up. You know who they are calling up? Mr. Beast. They're going to call up Mr. Beast because he has an absurd platform. He's got those numbers. And at the end of the day, that's what people care about. They care about numbers. They care about money. Passion is a dying art. But you know what? I'm here. I'm here every week. Well, I wasn't last week, but I'm here most weeks. I'm here doing my thing. One woman show over here. All right. So, you know, support indie influencers. But I think the other part of it is just that people are more critical of influencers and content creators in general. There are plenty of people who have been doing red carpet reporting that are not influencers, who have done shitty jobs, that have had a bad night. How many years have we listened to, 80% of red carpet reporting for women being like, what are you wearing? Rather than anything about the work that's being honored that night. Like, be serious. People can be bad at their job no matter what the title is. And again, this is not even shade to Jake Shane because I think he is very funny. I think his podcast is great. And I think that what he does well, he does fantastically. He just had a bad night. He wasn't slaying on the red carpet this year at the Oscars, and that's fine. Sometimes you don't slay. Been there, sister. Been fucking there. But don't let me into it. Do not lump me into it. I didn't do it. I might slay. And Jake Shane might slay next year if he's invited back. Who knows? You live and you learn. And there's plenty of reporters on that carpet who are not influencers who also flopped this year and you just never heard about them. Hell, there's reporters who flop all the time. I watched a clip of a Anya Taylor-Joy interview where they asked her what the overlap was between Princess Peach and Joni Mitchell. And she was sat there like, what's the overlap between Princess Peach and Joni Mitchell? They're both singular. And I'm like, oh, you pulled that one out, queen. What else was she supposed to say? What kind of fucking question is that? People ask dumb questions all the time. I know nobody likes to defend the influencers. Got it. Got it. Word. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm going to just this once and maybe just this twice and maybe just this third time. Because at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of really talented content creators out there, myself included, who don't deserve to be lumped into this shit. That's it. Mormons and I have been having quite a year together. Me and the Morms, all 2026. Why didn't they just call themselves that? Instead of Mom Talk, Morm. The Morms. It's like moms, but Morms. The Morms. I don't know. I think maybe we need some tweaking there, but when I said it, it made sense inside my head. I've been spending so much time between Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I've been so fucking Mormon this year. Someone needs to go to Utah. I don't know who, but someone needs to go to Utah and check it out because something's happening there. Something is going on in Utah. And we need to get to the bottom of what it is because everyone in Utah has something going on. And again, I'm not here to point fingers or make any diagnoses. I'm just saying someone needs to look into it because there's something happening in Utah for sure. And I just don't know what it is. And maybe it all goes back to Joseph Smith. I don't know. I don't know what that guy did. I'm sure I've said at least 100 times on this podcast over the last 6 months that I have been so excited for the Taylor Frankie Paul season of The Bachelorette to come out. And if you haven't heard, which I'd be shocked if you didn't because I feel like everyone on earth knows, but the Taylor Frankie Paul season of The Bachelorette was canceled 3 days before the premiere because of a video from her 2023 arrest that was released, was sold to TMZ. This video is from an incident that I'm pretty sure happens in like season 1, episode 1 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It's a fight with her boyfriend, Dakota, who is also a prominent figure on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And on the show, I'm pretty sure we just see police body cam footage of them having a conversation with her and then arresting her. But obviously the incident is talked about all throughout season 1. Taylor went on podcasts after the season aired and talked all about it. It's been like very well-known information that this occurred. But the video footage of the fight was only just released a couple days before this Bachelorette season is supposed to happen. And the footage is pretty fucking bad. It's terrible. It's hard to watch. I do feel that it was described accurately in the show. However, seeing it is different than being told about it. I think if you've seen the footage, you get what I'm saying. If you've seen the footage and seen Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I think we're on the same page. If you haven't seen one of the two, or if you're totally disconnected, then, you know, we've got some catching up to do because really there's so much lore to clue you in on. I can't even begin to do all of that right now. I almost don't even want to touch the Taylor, Frankie, Paul, Dakota abuse of it all because it's so clear that the two of them need serious fucking help. Both of them need support and mental health treatment, and they need to be far, far away from each other. We've seen the way Dakota treats Taylor. We've seen the way that Taylor reacts to Dakota. It makes me very sad. It makes me very upset. I think these are two deeply hurt people, and I almost don't even want to say anything more about it until more comes out. Having watched both of them on Secret Lives for 4 seasons now, it's hard to know like whose perspective to trust. I think they're both abusive, and yeah, I just don't think this is as clean cut as some people on the internet are gonna try to make it. It makes total sense that her season of the show was canceled following this video being released. And it's interesting because Disney owns ABC and owns Hulu. Season 1 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives was all centered upon and partially successful because of Taylor Frankie Paul's swinging scandal and arrest. This Mormon woman being the face of swinging and also domestic violence is like what made the show do well in the first place. It's what drew people in because it's absurd. She's a Mormon, and this is the vibes that we're bringing to the show. People were shocked. And you see people online being like, oh, it looks like ABC, Disney, whatever, didn't do their due diligence about Taylor Frankie Paul. Obviously, this is her. We've known it. People who watch Secret Lives have known this is who Taylor Frankie Paul is. But my thing is like, no, they definitely did do their due diligence. ABC 100% already knew about her arrest because ABC is owned by Disney, which owns Hulu. These people knew. Everyone knew. I really feel like her season getting canceled is more in response to the public reaction and less about the video itself. What I would give to be in those fucking meetings right now. Oh my God. What I would give to be on those Zoom calls, to be in those meetings where there are, well, first of all, the ones where they were deciding whether or not they were going to cancel the show. And now the phone calls where they are figuring out how they're going to recoup the tens of millions of dollars they spent producing this show. The other thing is at this point, and I'm filming this on Friday, March 20th. At this point, I'm not totally convinced that they won't release the show at a later date. And that they're just like putting a pin in it for now and then just kind of seeing how everything shakes out. And maybe it still ends up coming out, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe Taylor gets removed from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, even though this incident was featured heavily on the show. But maybe she gets removed as a result of audience backlash. Can Mom Talk survive that? I don't know. I really don't think there is a show without Taylor. I know they paused filming season 5 of Secret Lives while all of this is happening. So like, who knows what's going on? We're so in real time of this drama. I've literally been refreshing Reddit and Instagram and just everywhere that I can get information about this. I've been refreshing the shit, okay? I was watching Instagram stories from all of the men who were supposed to be on the show. Why would I ever be doing that? Because I wanted to see if there was tea. I wanted to see if they knew anything. If anybody works for ABC and is in those rooms, just send me a message and tell me what it was like. Just tell me what was going on. I won't tell anyone. I'm a very good secret keeper. It's actually super upsetting to me that nobody has come and given me goss like this. I promise you I won't tell a single soul except for Ashley Olafson. But Ashley's not going to tell a single soul either. Okay, it's the two of us locked in. We're not going to say shit to anyone. Just tell me what was going on. So that's kind of one thing. The Bachelorette, Taylor Frankie Paul of it all. I hope that Taylor and Dakota both get the mental health help that they need because it's clear that they need it, and the whole situation just makes me so sad. I hope that family members are able to step in and help with the kids, and just, I don't know, the video is hard. The video is a really hard watch, and it just makes me sad, mostly for the children caught in the middle of all of this. The part of this season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives that I did want to talk about was in like the second to last episode or last episode of season 4. It is revealed that Layla, who she herself says that she has an eating disorder and weighs 99 pounds. It is revealed that she was prescribed a GLP-1. Hey, so I think that doctor should be charged with attempted murder. Is that crazy for me to say? What is happening? I was so mad. I was so mad when it gets to that part of the show and you clearly see that Layla is struggling. She's having a hard time. She says that she has an eating disorder. They take her to treatment in in the show, I forget who it was. I think it was Jesse and Miranda. Layla opens up to them. They end up taking her to explore treatment. This is all at the very end of the season, so you really don't see a lot of what comes from it. But learning that Layla was 99 pounds prescribed a fucking GLP-1, I wanted to be violent. That poor fucking woman. Layla, get behind me. I literally, when I saw that, I was like, Layla, get your ass behind me. Because there's some doctors that I want to fucking fight right now. I want to get my fucking dukes up and poof, 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 poof. Because what do you mean? What do you mean there's a doctor out there that saw a 99-pound woman who clearly has an eating disorder and thought, you know what? She wants to lose more weight. Let's give her a GLP-1. And this is not a singular situation. This is happening more and more where you have thin women who likely have eating disorders that have been fed more of this fucking skinny psychosis where it's like, oh, I'm having a really hard time shaking off that last bit of weight. There's just like a little bit of more weight that I haven't been able to lose. So I'm going to get on a GLP-1 to help me lose it because my body just won't shake it for some reason. Have we considered that your body can't lose that weight because it shouldn't? Have we considered that last bit of baby weight you can't get rid of is actually not leaving because it's supposed to be there? Have we considered that is the weight that your body wants to naturally sit at? I am feeling crazy all the time at the mass fucking skinny psychosis that's happening across the masses. I'm looking into your eyes right now. I feel like I am going crazy. I feel like I'm going insane because people talk about this like it's fucking normal. I obviously, as an individual, have a lot of critique for weight loss medication in general. And to be honest with you, I think in a couple decades' time, the general opinion about GLP-1s is going to vary a lot when we have more information on the long-term health effects of this medication being used for weight loss exclusively when you're not someone who has diabetes or PCOS or something that this medication would typically be used to treat. The fact that there are doctors prescribing GLP-1s specifically for weight loss, regardless of whether or not weight loss is even a healthy choice for that individual, is insane. My opinions about GLP-1s in general aside, prescribing weight loss medication to someone already living in a extremely thin body is fucking attempted murder. That is so reckless. That is fucking unbelievable. Within like the GLP-1 conversation online, there's a spectrum of reactions. You have the people that are just like, without second thought, pro 100% GLP-1s and weight loss medication, are totally cool with Serena Williams, one of the best athletes of all time, being on commercials for weight loss medication, because it makes total sense that the best athlete of all time, who is clearly in great shape and has no reason to lose weight, is on a GLP-1. Yeah, there's people out there that think that's totally fine and are like, yeah, totally. All of us want to be skinnier. That's so normal. You have people like that, and those are the people that I'm mad at. The people that just have zero ability to critique anything that's going on. I can't stand them. You have those people. Then you have people who are like me and are very critical of GLP-1s. I just went on a whole fucking tangent in my fucking YouTube video of Celebration of Soft Necks on my opinions about plastic surgeries and Botox and things like that. So if you want to hear the rest of my perspective, go ahead and watch that video. But if you've been here long enough, you know where I stand. You know that I am someone who wants to respect other people's choices, but doesn't think we live in a black hole where our choices are totally uninfluenced. I'm not buying the fact that just because you chose to do something, it's inherently empowering. Yada, yada, yada. I am on the more critical side for pretty obvious reasons, because I'm someone who is very passionate about body image and all of that. Then you have people who are thin and anti-GLP-1s because they think it's a cheat code to getting skinny and they had to work hard for it. That has been interesting to witness online, because sometimes I'll see someone talking about GLP-1s critically online and I'll be like brought in and I'm like listening, because obviously I'm critical. So when I'm hearing other people be critical, I'm like, oh, let me hear what they have to say. And then through more of the conversation, I'm like, hold on. you and I are critical for two totally different fucking reasons. This is someone who values thinness so immensely. It's put on such a high pedestal that they don't like GLP-1s because they feel like those people are, it's like stolen valor to them. They put thinness on such a high pedestal that people using weight loss drugs are like, they're cheaters. It's stolen valor, and they hate GLP-1s for that reason. Obviously, that's not the fucking reason that I hate them for. It's a nuanced topic. There's also people that are on GLP-1s that are still critical of the larger body image conversations that are happening, that are critical of the way GLP-1s are being marketed and sold to young women. There's a range of experiences here. Every person's going to be different. There is no fucking reason in the world that someone like Layla should have such easy access to GLP-1 medication. A woman who very clearly and openly admits herself that she has an eating disorder. It is deeply troubling to me how much GLP-1s are being pushed. Every time I watch a show on Peacock, on Hulu, every single ad break, there is an ad for a GLP-1. It is being pushed down everyone's throats as the answer to your problems. And I think about the version of me that existed in high school that went to my mom with this fucking post I saw on Tumblr about a magic plant that would make me skinny. I think about that version of me and how that version of Maddie would have jumped at a GLP-1. Would have jumped at it. Would it have been right for me to do that? No. I had an eating disorder. I was deeply mentally unwell, looking for a solution for all the pain that I felt in my life. If GLP-1s are being pushed at this rate, when I was in that mental state, you bet your bottom fucking dollar that I would have asked my doctor for some, and they would have given them to me. Mentally, I was gone. I had such bad body image, but it wouldn't have mattered. Give her that magic shot, baby. Let's go. She's a fatty. Get her in there. And that is troubling to me. I am very worried about young girls growing up right now that are struggling with their body image in the same way that I was when I was their age. So many people can't see themselves. They can't see any beauty or value in who they are and what they look like and what they bring to the table. And here's this magic injection that's going to solve all of those things. It won't, but it'll make you believe that it does. The marketing will. We didn't get here overnight. We've been slowly moving in this direction for years now in subtle ways. I remember when, like, and some people are going to disagree with me on this, but I remember feeling this, when color seasonality was like a hot topic online, and everyone was talking about going to get your color seasons done and seeing which colors were your good colors and which colors were your bad colors, and making sure you only dress in your good colors and never your bad colors. I remember seeing those videos and being like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? The videos where they were like, okay, we're going to show you a bunch of different shades of green on this beautiful woman. Here's this beautiful woman. Tell us which shades look bad on her. And it'd be like the first green, I'm like, she's beautiful. Second green, she's still beautiful. Third green, she's still beautiful. Fourth green, oh, she's still beautiful. I was like, my brain isn't working the way that clearly some of y'all's is, where you are able to look at a beautiful woman and be so critical of her appearance that you can see what colors look, what shades of green look good on her versus which ones look bad. I'm like, bro, I don't fucking know. You're showing me a beautiful woman. She looks beautiful in all of them. I don't think I'm fucking crazy for that. I think you are. I think you are. That whole time where I was like, I don't see it. I don't get it. She's beautiful. I don't know. And you have people being like, no, but there's a science to it. It's color theory, whatever. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. She looks beautiful in everything. What colors does she want to wear? Who cares if they're the right color or not? The idea of there being like right and wrong when it comes to appearance, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? And it starts in small ways. You can take someone who thinks, by all means, that they are someone that has no body image biases or prejudices or anything like that. Like one day you start to pick up on how people speak about themselves and if this spectrum of good to bad exists within their own brain. And I can't fucking stand when people are like, I would never talk about other people the way I talk about myself, because it's not true. You might not say it to their face, but you think it. And when you exist inside, when you move through the world thinking that there are good bodies and bad bodies, we can tell. Everyone can tell. And you might not know that other people can tell. But it comes off in small ways where maybe you're talking about how your body used to look. And maybe you were heavier, you were pregnant, you had just had a baby, you were, trying to lose that baby weight, whatever. And you were like, oh yeah, I was so bad back then. I was so bad. Or maybe the inverse of that. And you're saying, oh, I was never that bad though. I was big, but I wasn't that big. I wasn't that bad. And I noticed little things like that over the years. People talking about this like good to bad spectrum becoming more obvious in people's brains. And I mean, this is what I say to my friends. I'm like, I really believe there's like a mass fucking skinny psychosis going on. Nobody can see themselves. Everyone thinks there's a good to bad spectrum of bodies and what they look like. Anyone can take a GLP-1, including fucking Serena Williams, who in no universe needs to be on a GLP-1. And if Serena Williams can be on a GLP-1 in all these fucking Roe ads, what the hell are other people supposed to think? It makes me ill. Sometimes I'll be sitting here like, do other people not think about young women at all? Do other people not think about the version of themselves that existed in their lowest moments? Do you not think about that young girl, that teenager who just wanted so badly to love herself? Do you not think about her? Because she's out there and she's consuming what you're doing. And you're for damn sure not making her life better. I'm like, not to be an asshole, but I dead ass sometimes look at some people and I'm like, your younger self would not be happy if they saw what you were up to now. I'm like, you've betrayed her. You've betrayed her at every moment. What are we doing? Oh my God. I genuinely really feel like I'm going crazy. And I was talking to Meg about this the other day because I was like, I think we're getting to an age now where when I meet another like grown person who still has like archaic body image ideas, I'm not saying you need to have perfect body image. We all struggle, myself included. But when you meet someone who has like truly archaic body image ideals, like they seem like they were stuck in 2002 and never left. And now that it's trendy to behave the same way that we behaved in 2002, I was fucking 5 in 2002, okay? Not to lump me into it. Don't lump me into it, bitch, okay? Don't lump me into it, part 2. But the way that it was acceptable to behave and talk about bodies in 2002, sometimes it feels like there were some people who just like froze themselves in time and got quiet over the years. And now that it's acceptable to talk about bodies like that again, they're like, boom, here I am. And we're talking about bodies like this again. Let's do it. Let's get into it. I think when I was a little bit younger, I used to look around and see people that still had those archaic body image ideas and think to myself, you know what? They'll get there eventually. Everyone's got to go through their own journey with themselves to reach that point of self-acceptance and to learn a little bit more about the history of fat phobia and body image and to just like be more critical and aware of it all. There was part of me that just thought that everyone would get there. And that people were just on their own timelines and that everyone would at some point find that peace. And maybe that was naive of me. I'm 29, just turned 29. And I'm realizing that some people won't get there. They won't ever be free of the shame cycle. And it genuinely makes me sick. But at some point, you have to choose it for yourself. And there are a lot of people out there that never will. Some of it is external, right? How you were raised, who you grew up around, the media you consume, the friends you have, what their relationships with their bodies are like. But it's also a massive internal journey. And some people won't have the courage for that part. To dig deeper, figure out what your body image values are, and stick to them even when it's hard. And I think the older that I've gotten, the more I'm just realizing that to have firm body image values in the way you see other bodies, in the way you see your own, in the way you want to protect your younger self, in the kind of peace you think that anybody deserves to have. Some people don't take the time to think about what it is that they value. And even if they do take time to think about what it is they value, some people don't care about upholding those values. I really am such an optimist because for such a long time I thought that everyone cared about getting to the bottom of themselves like that. I thought that everyone cared about understanding themselves and learning how to work through the things that are challenging to them. And they don't. Not everyone does. My opinion has always been that I think that you should ask yourself why it is you feel the way that you feel, what you were taught that made you come to those conclusions, and to dig deeper on the things you believe about your body and what's good about it and what's bad about it, and just question those things. To me, that's important. But so many people will never do it. So many people will never question the things they've been taught to believe about their bodies. And it makes me feel sick. It makes me feel sick. Meanwhile, you have what's-her-face going on Jubilee, which, by the way, to choose to go on like a Jubilee debate video, I think you're dealing with a high level of self-hate. Why the hell would you ever go on Jubilee to debate anyone? What is her name? I'm blanking out on her name right now. Thank God. I've literally erased this woman from my memory. What is her name? Jubilee body image. Jillian Michaels. Yes, this fucking loser. Jillian Michaels versus the body positivity movement 5 days ago. This dumb-ass Jubilee debates video. I fucking hate this shit. The fact that that video exists at all is insane. Can we say it? It's crazy. Jillian Michaels versus the body positivity movement. Jillian Michaels versus a group of people that just want everyone to feel comfortable in themselves and respected no matter what they look like. What the fuck is there to debate? You are mad that people want everyone to feel internal contentment and respect regardless of what their body looks like? Are you fucking high? You're mad about that? Like, truly, the room starts spinning. And I'm like, some of you need to be shaken awake. But really, I still remember going into someone's dorm room freshman year of college and seeing that they had a thinspo wall. They had printed out a bunch of photos from Tumblr and Pinterest of skinny people, and they had it like taped to the back of their bookcase in their dorm room. And I remember seeing it at that time. I'm 18 at that time. I remember seeing it being like, that's so sad. That's so sad. I really hope that they can feel differently about themselves someday. I hope that they're able to get help to come to the realization that they are worthy of more than a life where they feel like they're constantly in pursuit of this completely unattainable body image that they have to dedicate into one of their top 3 priority spots in order to maintain for the rest of their lives. Like, I hope that young women just get to feel like they're more than that. But here we are over a decade later, and I can't tell you that that person that I saw the thinspo wall of is doing any differently. And that is upsetting. I've had this conversation with my friends before. Did we talk about this on the show? I'm kind of forgetting. About like what your top 3 priorities are in your life. And when people are so dead set on having their body look one specific way, that enters your top 3 priorities. Because in order to maintain a body that is not your natural figure, whatever that's supposed to be, it requires a lot of time and effort and mental space. It becomes one of the top 3 things that is most important to you in your life. And I've talked to my friends about this because there is no universe where what I look like is ever in the top 3 things that are of importance to me in my life. There has never been a world where maintaining a specific image could have knocked out all the other things that are important to me, all the other things that I value, all the other interesting parts of me to become one of the top 3 priorities in my life. I am a very interesting woman. And it makes me very sad that there are many young girls out there that are growing up right now in the midst of all this GLP-1 nonsense, where they believe that if you want to lose weight at any size, you can just take this weight loss medication. Doesn't matter how much you weigh. If you want to lose weight, just take a GLP-1. It makes me sick. sick that these young girls are being brought up in a time where they are taught that how you look should fall into those top 3. We've rolled back so far. It's fucking crazy. Oh my God. Anyways, moral of the story, don't go on Jubilee. Don't go on Jubilee. The rage bait machine that they have going on now. Let's debate about body positivity. What other basic respect and kindness can we debate today? That's what they do. The big ups at Jubilee. They wake up every day and they go, how can we be a menace? For no fucking reason. I pulled a bunch of audience submissions, but obviously I've been yapping forever, so we're not going to get to them. So I'm just going to move these on over to next week's episode. We'll do a big audience submission catch up because the box was full of fascinating submissions and I'm dying to get into them. But I'm actually going to a Lady Gaga concert in an hour, so I've got to get ready. That's why I'm wearing my Mayhem merch as I'm recording this. Fingers crossed I get Married the Night as a surprise song, because that would be awesome. That would be very cool. Be sure to follow the podcast at Emotionally Online Pod on Instagram and TikTok. I post clips over there. When you follow, helps get the word out there about the show. When you rate the show on Spotify and Apple Podcast, helps to give the show a little bit of a boost. Let the people know that you're loving what you're listening to. You can follow me at Maddie Drospec on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, on pretty much any social platform. It's going to be at Maddie Drospec. And right now I'm going to throw it on over to the post show. So if you'd like to join us over on the Patreon for some extra extended podcast episodes, feel free. And if not, I will see you in next week's episode. Bye.
Okay, it's your turn. Truth or dare?